What's going on? Welcome back to the Root Cause Podcast. Today we have an exciting show for you guys. We have a very, I consider him to be a very important guest. I follow his work, and we want to get into it. Miguel, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I told you I was gonna make it. I
Hey,
told you I
man.
was gonna make it.
Hey, you always come through. I appreciate you, man.
You know I'm
So
gonna
we're
take
gonna get into it. We got Miguel. He's out today. He's not in studio because COVID is still real. COVID is real and it's here. All right. So y'all don't forget that. Still move accordingly. Today is also DJ Shane's anniversary. Happy anniversary, DJ Shane, brother. Marriage is work. Love is work. So work at it, man. You deserve to celebrate the work that you're putting in, man. And our brother LT could be anywhere in the world today. Anywhere in the world today. So shout out to LT. We're gonna get into it right quick on this community empowerment section. We're gonna do some quick promotion here, and we want to start out with pivotal operational practices. Pivotal operational practices is a VA, a virtual assistant program or virtual assistant company that helps push your business to the next level. If you have back office business that you need to take care of, that you don't have time to do, if you just need some insight, some consulting or guidance or a different perspective other than your own, check out Pivotal Operational Practices. We also have Marriage Moments with the brother Miguel and his wife Kim. They offer a transparent window into the perspective of marriage. This is an awesome podcast that's you can find on each platform, whether it's Pandora, iHeart, Spotify. Go ahead and grab it. Take a look at it. Hey, Miguel, when does the new episode air?
every Friday at 12 a.m. And this Friday just passed. I took the studio over this one. It's marriage moments, but I had to kick the wife out for this one. I brought just the fellas in. I did something different. I brought a sex therapist in. And normally you see situations where it's a guy in the room and the female's asking all the guys asking the guy one question, all these questions, right? So I did it. I flipped it around and I brought a sex therapist in, and we got to chat with her. And I had different ages. I had single guys, married guys, and of course I had got me and LT. Then you had our father on there. And my boy on there who's single, so we was able to touch on a bunch of different things, just from how we got introduced to sex to even taking it further as men, how women don't understand that we actually are more feeling driven once we actually get with somebody that we feel deserves this next level of ourselves, right? And we want to open up emotional, but they don't seem to understand that we can go past the physical aspect of it. So it got real deep and it got real good.
That's what's up, man. Hey, this is a podcast that's going to make you laugh, make you cry, the whole shebang. They're going to give you a little bit of a perspective of how they handle things. And, it may not work for you or it may, but it's worth listening to, worth checking out, and worth going to do your fact checking on. We also have the Hustle and Motivate conference that's coming up August 21st through the 27th of this year. August 21st through the 27th in beautiful Cancun. This is brought to you by DJ Shane. He's coming out with a piece of work that's going to be delivered here soon, where you'll have speakers like Dr. E, Miguel Brown, and BJ Page, amongst many others. They'll also have real estate investor Junior Diggs there showing them beautiful real estate that they may be interested in buying or things of that nature. So check out the Hustle and Motivate conference this year, August 21st through the 27th, in beautiful Cancun. Folks, the book is there. The book is there, Calculated with Love. You can still purchase it. It is my first book, my first work. Go check it out. I will also be highlighting the book September 14th at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, where I'll be sitting on a panel discussion that has to do with conversation about the mother-son relationship. Okay, these are for single moms and things of that nature. Go purchase the book right now. You can go to calculatedwithlove.com. We got a new one for you too. It is Milestones and Elevations Community Development. Milestones, Elevations, and Community Development. This is a nonprofit, guys. This nonprofit is focused on the family, not just women, not just children, not just men, but the family in its entirety. And their focus, of course, on this show, we know we're gonna promote Black first. We have to make it a priority to promote our people. So today, let's get into it. We have the great Mr. Titus Unlimited. I need to first tell you how I met this brother. I've been following him for about at least 5 or 6 years, and I met him in the gym. So Miguel, I'm not sure if you know Jeff, my man Jeff. Strong man, short guy, strong man, Jeff Mason.
Probably if I seen him, I probably recognize.
So Jeff and I, much like you and I used to do, we used to work out consistently for a short period of time, right? And so Jeff would take me up to the gym in Laurel, and we would go in there, and Jeff would go there like twice a day. So he was a regular because he lived close, and he would watch people work out while he worked out, and he would take some of their stuff and put it in his tool bag, and kind of make his workout to enhance his workout. He kind of taught me certain things that I can do with my body when it comes to weights. So he said, "Hey, bro, when we get in here, man, it's a brother over here. We got to go talk to him because he got it together. I don't know where he from, what he doing, but I spoke to him, and let's see what he talking about." So we get in the gym. I'm doing my little butterfly nonsense on the butterfly machine, thinking I'm working out. So we go over, and he has a older lady on the leg press machine, right? And she got these weights on there, but I'm not understanding like the duration in between the reps or whatever, because I'm just walking in. And so Jeff speak to him, and he said, "Well, y'all gonna get on next, bro. When I tell you, I believe it was 100. We had to do 100, but in sets of 10, and we had to, I think, drop weights off. But it wasn't a bunch of weights on there. Our normal practice after working out is going to go hit the sauna and then go into the crib. So, but in the sauna, we would talk about life, talk about making money, ways to take over the world, things of that nature. I don't think we talked in the sauna after we worked out with him. We got in the sauna and we tried to breathe and tried to feel our legs, make sure we could still walk. I went immediately home and went to bed. The sun was still out, the birds were still chirping. I don't even think my kids was home from school, and I went to sleep. I took that, put that in my tool bag. I introduced that to my wife. I introduced that to my 18-year-old son, and those are one of the things that I do on my leg day. Mr. Titus, I appreciate you for showing up today. Thank you for everything that you've done. He's appeared on Fox News. That's where I saw him at. Fox News, BET. He's appeared on Muscle Fitness magazines. He's had his work in Mail UK today. And I think he's done some work with ARP. So, and I'm just now starting to get some what I used to call junk mail from AARR. Mr. Titus, welcome, my brother.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure.
Mr. Titus he's a serial entrepreneur, is what I like to call him. So he has a brand called Titus Unlimited or Unlimited Supplements, right? And so since we spoke of COVID initially, what is your stance and how did you take care of yourself during COVID? Did you use your supplements, or how did that go?
Well, I took care of myself like I always have. People don't understand healthcare is the things you do on a daily basis. Healthcare is not when you go to the hospital. That's when you've lost your health. So healthcare is the maintenance and the promotion of your health. So the little things you do on a daily basis, you're drinking enough water, you're exercising, you're taking a proper supplements, you're eating a proper food, you're staying away from things that impair your health. That's healthcare, So pretty much the exact same thing. I educated myself about the virus and what was going on. I had to drown out a lot of the things that didn't make sense, you just pay attention and like you say, you move accordingly. There was just a lot of noise around it. A lot of people didn't understand it. A lot of people still don't, which is sad. A lot of people still don't understand it 2.5 years in now, which tells you a lot about people, I always tell people if you have something that is important to you, you got a problem, a disease, an ailment, something, you should know everything about it, and you should know everything about it from many sources. Sadly, that's not the case.
Right. So you've developed the unlimited supplements.
Yes.
What was your pathway? Why did you choose to do that? It seems like you've always lived a healthy lifestyle. I can't tell how old you are. I mean, my brother Miguel has some black and white, going.
I'm trying to get on that silver squad too.
And that's another thing. And mine is just starting to peek in. But bro, I mean, the way you work out and the way you take care of your body. If it's aging, you're aging gracefully, or you're aging backwards, right? And so, what was your pathway? Why did you choose to develop the product line?
Well, let's go back to the beginning. I was an athlete my entire life, but I wasn't always as healthy. So at one point in time, when I was about in my mid 30s, I was up to 240 pounds. Now, mind you, it was mostly muscle, working out all the time, but that was too much weight for my frame to carry. And in my opinion, my mother, lived a very healthy life. My mother died of cancer in 2002. And so, you're in the mid 30s and that happens, that kind of shocks you. Mm-hmm. And so it put me on a quest I wanted to know why. Okay. Because if I'm seeing someone who I thought was a very healthy person, and at that time I was not as healthy, as cognizant of the things I was putting in my body as she was, how is it that she got cancer twice and died? So I started to educate myself more about food, about nutrition, about medication, about supplements. I started to delve a little bit deeper into these things, and I started to find out the levels of misinformation that's out there. And so the deeper I went, the deeper I had to go. I even take, for instance, my background, full disclosure, my father was a medical doctor. And so even as a child, I was always interested in medicine. Everybody thought I was going to be a doctor. I didn't really want to do that. But by the time I was 9, I had read all my father's medical journals. And so I used to have high level conversations with my father about medicine, about the human body. And so that's when it started. And so, I was always into finance. I was a stockbroker for many years, and then I owned my own businesses. And it wasn't until maybe 2016 when a picture of mine went viral that, more people started. I was always helping people around me with working out. Like even you come up, you'd ask me, I would work out, people ask me about diet. So I had always put myself, ingratiated myself in it. But it wasn't until then when people started coming to me in droves that I started to, okay, well, then I started to, write things out more formal for people. Here you go. Wrote a plan for people. And being in the spotlight, I had a lot of supplement companies come up to me and ask me to be a rep. So I was a rep for 1 or 2 supplement companies. Not really a rep, but a brand ambassador is a better word. And one of the things I noticed about the supplement companies is that, their focus was making money and not selling quality. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the more I delved into it, I realized that, and I asked them a couple of times, look, can we make this supplement? Is this something that people actually need? And a lot of times people are like, well, there's really no money in that. And so after asking a couple of times, I said, okay, well, it looks like I'm going to have to switch off from more of the sports nutrition type supplement companies, which everybody knows about, to more of the natural supplement companies. But even with them, they skimp on quality, mm-hmm. They skimp on dosage, and the interest is primarily profit. More power to them, but I said, okay, well, you know what? It looks like I'm going to have to do this myself because people are constantly asking me about supplements, and I want to feel good referring people to high quality. So the only way I can ensure that is unless I'm the one who's driving the quality. And so I looked into it. I, squirreled my funds, and I and I developed unlimited supplements. And we started off with, you know, a couple basic products, because one of the things that I noticed in the very beginning is that the very beginning of most people's health program should be getting rid of the old. You know, you got to cleanse your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter how much you eat clean, if you still got dirty stuff in your body, that's like moving clean furniture into a dirty house. You got to clean the house. Every time you move into a new house, what do? They've repainted the walls and they had it deep cleaned. Same thing with your body. You know, and so we started there, and then just listening to people, I've developed more and more products to suit the actual needs. You know, the big needs that people have. So right now, in limited supplements, we have about 50 SKUs. I personally, some stuff I don't really promote, is the stuff that people just ask, you know, but the main things are, you know, the main core ones, about 10 supplements or so are what I recommend to people, you know, things like the detox stack, the superfoods bundle, the complete minerals, because those address the core needs that people have. You know, you guys were just talking about sex and stuff like that. A lot of people are not even able to have proper sex because their hormones are off. You know, erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, lack of just desire. And what people don't realize is that all of those things go back to unclean bodies, bad diet, bad lifestyle. Okay. And so even with me, when I talk about my supplement company, I never lead with supplements. I always tell people first, you know, supplements are not magic pills. It is your diet that makes up 70% of what's wrong with you. All right. And so just trying to take a pill to solve the problem is like pouring water into a bucket that has a hole. You got to patch the hole. Where's the problem? Problem is the foods you're eating. Okay. The problem is your lifestyle. Fix the food. Get rid of the dirty ones. You know, put in the new ones. Drinking enough water. Then you do that. Now supplements are supposed to supplement your life. Mm-hmm. They're not supposed to be your life. Mm-hmm. All right. And then the supplements work well. So, you know, over the last couple of years, I've been able to help quite a few people. You know, a couple hundred people get off of diabetic and high blood pressure medication. People losing, you know, lost track now how many people, but people losing, you know, well over 50 pounds, 100 pounds, stuff like that. But I don't approach it from the standpoint of losing weight. I approach it from the standpoint of getting healthy, because when your body is healthy, right, it will lose unhealthy weight. It will shed unhealthy weight. All right. So we have to create the environment within our bodies where our bodies can thrive. And that usually that is where the problem lies. And so you'll find it's very easy to do that once you understand the human body.
I can definitely tell and know that you have a passion for the work that you do. And so, like you said, you just can't take a magic pill and think that everything is going to be okay. It must be a lifestyle. And you've also built a lifestyle in educating people how to feed themselves too. And so I see that, you know, where did the cooking thing, was that a mom thing? I'm not sure where are you from too? Is that something that's from the States, or where did you get that?
Well, my cooking is not because I'm actually was raised in Africa, but my cooking is not from that. My cooking is from my mother, but it was a life lesson my mother was teaching me. And basically my mother said, the person that controls your stomach controls you. Mm. So you don't want to be a man that cannot cook and clean and fend for himself. You don't want to be someone's additional child. Yeah. You have to be the cook for yourself. And most especially your favorite food. Like, what kind of man are you? What kind of person are you? If you don't even know how to make your favorite food, you have to rely on someone else. Mm-hmm. And so she taught me that lesson, I think, when I was like, I couldn't have been any more than 9, mm-hmm. right? I had to ask her to make a particular dish, and, you know, she said, okay. I came home and she had cooked what she wanted. And I said, but that's not what we talked about. And she's like, well, she said, if you're hungry enough, it'll taste like anything you want. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And so she said, that's what she told me. She said, look, if you want me to cook these things for you, right? You come downstairs tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'll show you how to cook it once. Yeah. And it was just that one lesson. But then I actually enjoyed cooking. And so you know, now I just anything I want to eat, I just learn how to cook it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I think
And
that's
then plus you control what goes into your body too.
hell yeah. I think that's a great balance of making sure that you know how to feed yourself and what to feed yourself, and also getting those extra supplements that we don't get because we don't always eat the right way.
Exactly.
I find that you are a well balanced brother, man, and not only do you incorporate some science, but you incorporate nature. And so I've heard you say about the human body is connected to the moon and the sun and things of that nature. Like, what is that
Yeah.
about? Can you tell our listeners and your supporters about that?
Well, you know, people make jokes about it, but you know how people say, well, if people act crazy when a full moon is out.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. The moon, the sun, the gravitational pull affects your mood. So there's a reason why, like, take for instance, I was just talking about this the other day, why they call it the graveyard shift. Because it's been scientifically proven if you work that shift for an extended period of time, it will shorten your life by about 5 to 10 years. Why? Because the most appropriate time for a human body to be at rest and at sleep is at nighttime. You know how they say certain animals are nocturnal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, we're not nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we're supposed to be asleep between the hours of 10 p.m. to about 4 to 6 p.m. 6 a.m. Okay, that is when it's at its darkest. Okay, that's when we're supposed to be asleep. If you're not asleep, you're going to throw off your body's chemical balance. And when that starts to throw off, guess what happens? Is now it spreads to your hormones. Because like even sleeping in a room where there's too much light, right? It causes stress on the human body. That makes you release cortisol. What does cortisol do? Cortisol decreases a man's testosterone levels. When your testosterone levels decrease, a whole bunch of other things are about to go wrong with you. You know, and so the same thing with the female body. You know, once again, we are doing things on a daily basis in our new world, right? That affects our body's natural function and how we interact with nature. You know, even like walking barefooted. Walking barefooted on dirt is good for you. Okay, we don't do that anymore. Getting sunlight is very good for you.
Okay.
Walking on dirt is very good for you. We don't do that anymore. No,
Wow.
Don't get me wrong. There's some of these things that with our modern society makes it difficult. Right. But we have to understand, we have to try to incorporate some of these things, you know, like walking on sand, walking barefooted, getting sunlight, you know, the people do things like dry brushing. You know, those things are good for your body because once again, those are the ways we release toxins. We get more in tune with our vibration around the world.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get it because Frank gonna ask you a whole bunch of technical questions. I'm gonna keep it 100. So Tyson, let me ask you this. So especially with the sleep, I know I love working out, but the sleep portion is my biggest thing, and it's because of work, right? I go to work at 2 a.m. and I can't get to bed no sooner than maybe about 8, 9 o'clock. Right. So I already know my sleep is off, right? What in a situation like that, other than like I work maybe about 12 to 14 hours a day, I come home and I gotta get a nap to function. I have to give me about an hour nap to continue the rest of my day, right? So that means I'm home by about maybe 3. I sleep for about an hour to about 4:30 or so. And then I can after that, then I can do the gym or I can do whatever. But there's some days where I can't even get that off. It's just because that's just how tired or whatever the situation is. What can somebody do in a situation like that where your job doesn't permit you to sleep adequately? Like I said, like you said, the graveyard shift. I hated working the overnight thing. That was terrible. I only did it as long as I needed to and then got off of it because I just knew it had me all off of whack. So this right now is probably the closest I've been to what could be decent sleep, but getting up that early and trying to make myself go to bed, it's hard. So what's things that I can do anybody in that kind of situation to kind of help with sleep better? Because I even see that's part of one of your plans that you got. You talk about your meal preps and your the adequate sleep and things like that.
All right, so well, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you since you want me to keep it 100. All right, number one, you got to reevaluate your life. Okay, I always tell people the human beings were not designed to be working, you know, these 17, 18 hours. And the reason why you do that now is because of choices you've made. All right. A lot of times we pick oversized houses, pick oversized cars, we pick oversized lifestyles that now we're trying to keep up with. That's not what your life was intended to be. So now you're overburdening yourself. And now because you're overburdening yourself, you're killing yourself with those things. And those things will send you to an early grave. So you have to make a decision, right? Maybe you need to find a better hustle to bring more money, or maybe you need to release some of those things, because if you don't, it may take you to an early grave. Okay. A brother who was flying high just the other day, I tried to warn him about working too hard and not tending to his health. And he was like, yeah, man, I got to get this money. I got to get this signed. Once I get it done, I said, brother, there will always be more money to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And unfortunately, he didn't heed my warning, and he died.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know who I'm talking about, Kevin Samuels.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes.
Yeah, he and I had personal conversations about his health. And, I'm not saying that I would have been able to save his life. I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that we're given opportunities. And once you acknowledge that as an issue, then it is incumbent on you as a man who has a family to address that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because that very family that you're grinding for like that is the very family you're going to leave with nobody if you burn the candles at both ends. Now, that being said, how can you solve the problem right now as it stands? Get you some blackout shades. Go to Home Depot. All right. Get you some blackout shades. You got to try to get at least 6 hours of sleep. Okay. Some of the things that are affecting your ability to sleep are some of the things that you're doing and or ingesting throughout the day, or not ingesting. So take a look at your mineral levels. Are you getting enough magnesium in your body? Are you drinking coffee? Do you take pre-workout? If you're doing that,
I was going to ask you about that, because you put a post up about coffee.
Yep. If you're drinking coffee and pre-workout, you need to stop immediately. All right. Make sure that you're eating foods that are high in magnesium. What are your testosterone levels like? Okay. Are you working out? When are you working out? Okay. When you wake up from sleep, right? Are you still sleepy? Because if you're still sleepy, that means you're not sleeping when you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because your body should be able to recharge itself within 6 hours as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're not able to be recharged in 6 hours, then that means there's an overall problem with your diet, your nutrition, your lifestyle. You fix the root problem. I always tell people, no one cures a disease. There's not a single person in this world that cures a disease. Mm-hmm. What you do is you address the root problem of the disease. Once you address the root problem, the dis-ease stops. I'll give you an example of what a dis-ease is. You take a rock. You ever had a pebble in your shoe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Once you put that pebble in your shoe, you start walking. What starts to happen?
Start hurting.
It hurt.
It starts to irritate you. After it irritates you for a while on that right foot, right? What are you tend to do? You're going to put most of your weight on what?
Left foot.
Left foot. You put your weight on your left foot for long enough, what's going to happen?
It's going to hurt too.
You're gonna create an imbalance on your left. Next thing you know, your lower back's hurting, it's shooting up, it's doing all these things, and now you're taking pills, massages, and all these things, when all you gotta do is take the pebble out your right shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Touch that. When you touch that coffee fork, because when I seen that post on your page about the coffee, I was like, whoa, okay, mind blown with that one. Because Frank, I seen your face, Frank. You wasn't ready for that.
For the coffee? Well, it was more of the pre-workout. I was such a fan of the. There was a time in my life where it's like, if I didn't have a pre-workout, I wasn't going to the gym. Like I couldn't function. Like I couldn't focus in the gym. And so to hear you say that, I know the caffeine and all that stuff is in it, but dive a little deeper into that though.
Well, let's start with the fact that your body should be able to power itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you should not need any external source for energy. So let's start there. Okay, so now let's look at caffeine. What does caffeine or coffee do to you? Excess caffeine in coffee, immediately when you take it, your body has to secrete more calcium. Calcium is the #1 mineral in the human body. Your body literally secretes calcium. Okay. What also happens when you drink caffeine? Your body cannot upload magnesium, zinc, iron, and things like that. And these are minerals that your body needs for function. Okay. What else does caffeine do to you? Well, it makes you feel good, right? Mm-hmm. Why? Because when you drink caffeine, it gives you a dopamine rush, right? But when it gives you that dopamine rush, it also pulls serotonin out your gut line. So drinking coffee for an extended period of time can also lead to cases of depression and anxiety. Let's take a step back from our society right now. 25 years ago, right? Coffee was not a culture. How old are you guys? How old are you?
I'll be 39 in June.
Yeah, 39. Okay. Same thing, 39 in August.
Maybe you guys were too young that you weren't out there in the working world. But 25, 30 years ago, nobody drank coffee. The only people that drank coffee were truckers and people who had shitty jobs. Mm-hmm. Okay. The only place you could find coffee was at 7-Eleven or the rinky-dink gas station where they gave you in a little styrofoam cup. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now coffee has taken on an entire lifestyle in the United States. You see it in every movie. You see it in every show. Everybody has to have their coffee. You have to. A lot of times people don't. They program people so much that they forget what things really are or used to be. Mm-hmm. Coffee wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So now when you look at people who have all these hormone problems, all this depression in the United States, even though the United States is 5% of the world's population, we consume over 75% of the world's depression and anxiety drugs. Why? Why? Look at our lifestyle. Okay? Everything they promote for you to do on TV, to eat, drink, or consume, right, robs your body of nutrients or is void of nutrients you need. What is that doing? That is setting up a society that's prone for what? Illness. Mm-hmm. There are two things that our capitalistic society needs for you to be in order for you to be beneficial to them. Sick and in debt.
Yes.
Now look at every single commercial, every single lifestyle, every single person that they push to you. They're either encouraging you to engage in attitudes or behaviors that's going to make you sick, or that is going to put you in debt. Mm-hmm. The over materialistic attitude, the pushing of drugs, the pushing of alcohol, the pushing of sweets, and all these things like that. I mean, I even did a comparison just the other day. In our community now, everybody, oh well, we weigh more because we're big bone. No, you're not. No, you're not. Science has proven that we're not any more big bone than any other group of people.
Right.
And the people who have the smallest bone mass to the largest bone mass vary by 15 pounds. Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? Yes, sometimes we might have more musculature, but even there, that's 10 pounds. That's it. Okay. But we lie to ourselves. Okay. And the lies we tell ourselves are just the excuses that we make, so it doesn't have to be our fault. If we go back to 1990, the obesity rate in the United States was just over 10%. Yes. And right now it's about 50.
Wow.
What changed? Diet. Additives in food and consumption of foods and a disconnection between people and understanding how to eat. People started eating more fast food. People started eating more quick stuff. You guys are 39, so that'll put you back born right by 1980 something.
83.
Right? 83. Okay, so hopefully when you were born, probably your mother was still cooking everything you ate. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
Look at kids now. Their mothers probably they're lucky if their mother cooked 10% of what they eat.
Yeah.
So now they're relying on the food industry to feed them. Mm-hmm. I just talked about this last night. All right. I got an interesting thing for you to hear. In 1860, do you know what the average age of puberty for a girl was in 1860? Puberty meaning that's when they started to get pubic hairs, their breasts, and also got their periods. Do you know what the average age was?
Was 16?
16.6.
Wow. It's super early now. Wow.
9.5 now.
Whoa.
And for Black girls, 8.8. Black girls are 1 year ahead of their counterparts.
So my wife and I talk about this all the time because I have a daughter. We have a daughter, and we talk about, okay, she's 10. She's about to turn 10. And it's like, okay, when does that time come where we need to start really prepping her to receive her menstrual cycle? Because you're learning now that the kids are getting it a lot
If she's
older.
10 and she hasn't had it yet, that means she's behind the curve, because
Wow.
9.5 is the average right now.
Speaking of the food that you put inside your mouth, Miguel, go ahead, and then I'm gonna play a little post. I'm gonna play a post that our brother created just the other day about tilapia. Go ahead, Miguel.
What? Go ahead. What? I'm amazed at all of it. Like it's hitting home. Like right now. That's why I'm outside. Like I said, I test positive for COVID. Yes, and this is my third day with it. Yesterday I had the fevers and everything, but I just did what I've been doing. I amped up on my supplements and my minerals, taking my zinc and all of that stuff. I've been drinking a lot of water, some green juices and things like that. And I feel fine right now. You know what I mean? I feel 100%. Honestly, I don't feel bad at all. So just when I see some of these things like this, like when I'm at it now, I'm in a time now where I am starting to look deeper into these things, like the how much of this what I should be eating, what I should be eating, the vitamins I should be taking, the minerals and things like that, and what these foods have in them and stuff like that. It's funny that you say I used to live with my grandparents for a while, and my grandmother never made my grandfather coffee.
She never made him coffee?
He had breakfast to leave out the door. That was it. He didn't have no coffee.
Wow.
He didn't have coffee.
No, nobody drank coffee.
That's crazy. Like that that jumped off now. That's the whole Starbucks community and Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh yeah. Oh man, they making a killing.
Yeah.
It's in college. I mean, it's in college campuses now. The kids can go to the coffee machine and just grab the coffee and all that stuff. They're giving it to our children.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they make it so much culture now that people think it's normal. No, it's not normal. You're not supposed to be putting stimulants in your body first thing in the morning. You just woke up from 8 hours of sleep. Why are you tired?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just woke up. Why are you tired? That doesn't concern you. You just slept. You should be wide awake. It would be different if you're telling me this is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon after you've been running and working for 8 hours, but you just woke up. Why are you tired? Why do you need coffee to wake you up?
Mm-hmm.
It's a drug. It's addictive. We promote these drugs on TV, on internet. You know, the two most highly promoted drugs in this country, caffeine and alcohol. And we make it okay.
Okay.
A lot of people don't even understand what drinking in moderation is. Okay. And alcohol is another drug, right? Another substance that will rob your body of minerals.
Yes.
And so everything that's promoted to you, once again, is leading you towards getting sicker. You know, I did that post the other day about the fact that the United States government promoted a high carb diet in 1992. Mm-hmm. The ABA and the American Heart Association signed on, right? And between 1994 and 2015, the not obesity rates, but the diabetic rates in the country tripled, went from a little over 6% to 22%. Wow. You think they didn't notice that? Mm-hmm. You think that somewhere along the way that they didn't see those numbers going up? When have you ever heard that being said to you before? So that means it's about design.
Right.
No one's trying to change it. No one's come back and say, hey, look, the high carb don't work, right? You have all these people promoting all these different things, and the numbers just don't bear out. Mm-mm. We, right now as a nation, 70% of Americans take prescription drugs. 50% are obese. 75% are overweight. You hear any Democrat or Republican talking about that? 52% of children are going to have a chronic disease by the time they're 16, which means they're going to be on prescriptions. Do you hear anybody raising an alarm about that?
The last time I heard somebody raise an alarm in the political stance was Michelle Obama, and they wanted to judge her hair and her dress and not actually the words that were coming out of her mouth. She tried to get good lunches and things into the schools and get the kids to have more PE and exercise. That was the last time I think I've actively heard a politician speak about the healthcare of our children and things that we put into our body. You know?
Well, even with what she was talking about, that was a political stunt. Mm-hmm. Because her husband is the one that signed the DARK Act that lets companies sell you food without telling you what's in it.
Man.
You got to understand, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, bro.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of magic going on. I'm going to play this clip from Titus's page regarding tilapia. This was something that I did not know. Let's get into it.
High in protein and other nutrients and very affordable. But did you also know it's high in dibutylin and dioxin, two chemicals known to cause asthma, cancer, inflammation, metabolic disorder, and even obesity? Here's something else you did not know.
This is basically where our wastewater treatment begins. We have about 300,000 tilapia and carp in here, right, to get rid of a lot of the particulates.
Particulate poop.
Yes. Once they reach up to harvest size, we harvest them out and sell them.
The fish that help purify the dirty water by eating uneaten food and poo will then be sold on the market for people to eat.
Right, exactly.
That's fantastic.
So look, we live here in Washington, D.C. I've done work with a local municipal here, and we live by Blue Plains treatment facility. Okay, and tilapia was on the damn. You can go into any giant shopper food warehouse and get you a bag of tilapia for the cheap. And you be thinking, okay, look, I'm going home, I'm gonna grill this thing, season it up, and I'm eating healthy. I'm staying away from the pork. But what you're saying is that tilapia is really a farm raised fish that we really should stay away from.
Sound like Sound like.
And they're pushing this in the grocery stores. They're signing off on this to be sold to us.
Like, you know why I put posts like that out? I have this saying, okay? Before the truth can set you free, you have to first figure out what lie is holding you hostage. Okay? And here's a lie that holds us hostage. We really believe deep down in our hearts that these people have our best interest at heart. That the people who bring us food, serve us food, the grocery stores, the FDA, that they actually have our best interest at heart. And so that's why I show countless amounts of information that show that they're standing right there. And not only are they sometimes doing it themselves, they're complicit in your being poisoned. So now, once you can accept that, then maybe you can accept my information on how to change it. But as long as you still believe that they got your best interest at heart, you're willing to buy anything they sell you. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. And guess what? Then LeBron James can come and sell you Sprite, can sell you Pringles. You know, we still look at these people as heroes. Mm-hmm. When in actuality, would you allow a drug dealer to come into your living room and sell your child drugs? But you're fine with them selling them Bang energy drink, mm-hmm. Monster, Sprite, Ruffles, Pringles. We know these things. The research is there. We know these things cause cancer. They cause obesity. They cause heart problems. They cause diabetes. We know this, right? So what's the difference? The difference is you've been deluded to believe that these people have your best interest at heart. And until you can recognize that them and anyone that works with them or for them is not working for you, once you understand that, then you'll be able to find the people who are working for you, and you move yourself in a different direction. Doesn't matter how much they put them on TV. If they ain't working for you, they're not working for you. Malcolm X told you that. Mm-hmm. He says, anytime a black man or a person is exalted, they're no longer working for you. Power does not give power to someone who wants to dilute their power. They're only going to give power to people who are helping them extend their power. Mm-hmm. Period.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so that is that mindset that makes me a fan of yours, that causes me to say, okay, you know, let me dig a little deeper into what this brother is saying. So I want to dive into your mindset. You had a post not too long ago talking about loss, and you quoted Mike Tyson, and that this life is built of wins and losers, and through this life, and I'm paraphrasing, you want to be prepared to lose everything that you love or care about. And it seemed like you grew up with some great parents, man. some parents that really instill some things into you. I didn't quite get the whole, at least that's not something that often taught about being prepared to lose. In this society, the churches that people go to, the preachers that they listen, they talk about prosperity, growth, growing. Very rarely do we talk about the losing portion of this life now. Can you dive a little deeper into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Life is about loss. A lot of times people, I always tell people, be careful about people who always make you feel good. All right? Be careful about people who are always trying to make you feel good, because that's not what life is. Okay? Life is about loss. Think about it. You're going to lose your hair.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your teeth. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose your parents. And eventually, at the end of life, you will lose your life. So life cannot be about winning. Life is about losing, but losing gracefully. Life is about fighting. Life is about standing for something. Okay? When you preach to a bunch of people that life is just about prosperity, they only tend to focus on themselves. All right? They don't want to lose nothing. Everything they have, they want to retain. But what's the point of that when you're not going to retain it in the end anyway? Right? The only thing that you actually get to retain is what? Your legacy. And what is your legacy? Your legacy is not about the house you have, the cars you drove, your bank account. Your legacy is about what you inspired other people to be and do. Period. End of story. And a lot of times I talk about value. Okay? The true value of a man is what you inspire others to do. The true value of a man is what you put into people, what you put into this world. All right. I always like to talk about it from this angle. It's like, if you think about life as a man, as a man, we're born with no inherent value. You're not worth anything as a man when you're born.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's sad to say it, but take, for instance, a woman. A woman is born with inherent value. She's born with beauty. Nobody cares about your beauty if you're a boy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They care about your substance. All right. We all are just a $5 block of iron. And how much time you spend developing your $5 block of iron is your value. Okay. But here's the thing about life that a lot of men don't get. Your life doesn't end when you die. That is when your life is evaluated. That's when your value is best calculated. Because a lot of times we see the money, we see the cars, we see the this, we see the that. That distorts people's vision and their calculation of what your actual value is. Right? When was the last time somebody mentioned how many houses, cars Malcolm X had? Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Very
Bob
rarely.
Marley. They don't do it.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's inconsequential in their value.
Mm-hmm.
We've known people that were way richer and we still don't mention their name to this day. Will Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
Only time Will Chamberlain's name comes up is when we talk about him scoring 100 points. That's it.
Yep.
But it's his actual value to people, very little. Why? Because he did nothing for people. All he did was to promote Wilt. I mean, and that's fine for him, but hey, and usually when somebody's alive and they got all the fancy stuff, we can't see past that. What are you actually doing?
Yeah.
We see all the rappers right now, they got this, they talk about it. When they're dead, who's going to remember what is there to remember?
Right.
Nothing. Be a footnote. Okay. And one of the most important quotes I've read in life is, the man who plants a tree knowing that he will neither enjoy the fruit nor the shade has truly understood life. Okay. You're enjoying shade and fruit today from trees planted by people who knew they were not going to enjoy the fruit of the shade. Malcolm X knew he was going to be killed, but he stood for something. He sacrificed. He still planted that tree, and we reap the fruit. Look around you right now. Which one of the people that we admire, are planting actual trees that they know they're not going to reap? They're taking hits knowing that they may not be appreciated now, but they might be appreciated later. Everybody's serving themselves.
Mm-hmm.
My dad told me, he said, a true mark of a gentleman is someone who puts more into the world than he takes out. My question to people is, what are you putting into the world?
Yeah.
Because when your time is done, we don't know when it's done, right?
No.
That's the end of it. That's the end of your writing of your story. Now, what story is going to be told? Because everything you do is your body of work.
Yeah. Speaking of your father, man, your father said something to you, and you said it caused a light bulb to go off, and you said he laughed on his deathbed, and he told you, and he said, "Well, you thought this was going to last forever?" I mean, now I remember when my grandfather passed, right, and my grandfather would tell me, he said, "Son, I'm proud of you." I didn't know why, because I was a youngin'. And he said, "I'm proud of you." Years later, I look back over my life. I think I understand what he was saying. But what your father said for you said it flipped the switch, and it caused you to think in another direction in regards to this life and losing and the legacy that you need to leave. Can you dive into that moment, how that made you feel, and how you started to move from then on?
Well, like I said, having watched my father die, it gave me an understanding and appreciation of life, right? Because life does end, all right? But what's beautiful about life is when you've lived a meaningful life, a fulfilled life. When you've lived a meaningful life and fulfilled life like my dad did, right? You're not afraid to die. People would come and pray for my dad to live longer. My dad, like, just pray for me to die faster. He said, I did mine.
Yeah.
And I did it well. He says, now it's up to you to do yours. I was crying, when my dad was like, he said, what do you think? This one lasts forever? He said, what would you rather? You die on me? He said, but somebody got to die first.
Yeah.
He says, you don't worry about that. You take the time that you spent, because you'll never lose that, the time we spent together. Me and my dad, we used to talk all the time. He died when I was relatively young. I was still a teenager. Okay. But for me, it's like he never died, because all those lessons, all those conversations, I replay them. I talk about them every day. So guess what? You don't know my dad, but my dad's life has touched you.
Damn right.
Okay. And that's how we live on. My dad never gave you a dime, but my dad now lives in you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you will tell the story of my dad through my story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's how we live. That's the trees we plant. Okay. The fruit that we harvest. What sacrifices are you making?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so, that's how I have an interesting, I understand a different way of looking at life, but that's how I approach life. Okay. For me, everything is integrity, because you know what? I'm never going to look to make a quick dollar off of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because one of the things that would scare me in life to the fullest, right, is if I die, and every time you hear my name, or every time somebody says my name, oh man, that dude, he sold me some garbage. No, you'll never say that about me.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't a man of character. You're not going to say that. You may not like me, okay, and that's perfectly fine. But my integrity and my intentions to pour into the world will never be questioned.
My guy. One of my favorite quotes that I heard you say was, I was listening to you, and at one point in my life, I was experiencing something, and it had to do with comparison, right? And I didn't notice it, right? I mean, so social media it can be the mark of the beast. It's the devil. Yeah. I mean, just comparison in general. But I heard you say that comparison is the thief of joy.
It is.
I took that home, man. I took that home and I gave that to my son. I took that home and I gave that to my wife and to my other two children. And because of that, I found that that to be true, and that to cause myself more peace, not to compare myself to others, but to ride my lane and be where I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to be there. Can you get into a little bit about that comparison piece? Because in your lane of entrepreneurship and trainer and business owner, I'm pretty sure that you're compared to a lot of people. How do you stop from comparing yourself to others?
Well, very easy. I mean, we know identical twins are not the same.
Mhm.
Okay, we've seen them. We've seen them in the NBA.
Yeah.
Horace and Harvey Grant. Couple more identical twins, like same mother, same father, look exactly the same. They don't even have the same abilities. So why would I compare myself to you? And I don't have your dad ain't my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Your struggles weren't my struggles. Your situation weren't my situation. I can look at you and I can be inspired by what you do. But to compare myself, no, you don't do that. But that's what this world has come to now. People are comparing themselves, and it creates a level of unhappiness with oneself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a level of discontent. And that's what basically what our capitalistic society wants. Our capitalistic society wants to build a level of lack, a feeling of lack within yourself. So they show you all these things. You know, they promote the rappers who tell you, oh, they driving Bugattis, they taking trips to France and stuff like that, when half the time they never even did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But now you feel obligated. So you see guys walking around. It always makes me laugh. You see young guys walking around with all this jewelry on, you know, and you know it's fake, because if it was real, that's $500,000. And if you have $500,000, you would not be driving a Honda. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that is an indication of one not feeling worthy. And so they have to grab all these things that they think have value or have the appearance of value, so that they themselves can be or feel more valuable. Whereas if you work on yourself and you have the proper view of yourself, you'll realize there's nothing more valuable than you. And if you don't like the value you have, invest in yourself, develop yourself. That $5 block of iron,
Mm-hmm.
put more time into it. Okay? Put more time into it. But a lot of people want the shortcut. Okay? And then they're so busy trying to outdo someone around them, right? That they lose track. I mean, let's be real. We talking about money, right? Speaking of money, let's look at somebody like Floyd Mayweather. I look at Floyd Mayweather and I laugh. I think it's unfortunate. Okay, I think it's very unfortunate, because, I mean, more power to him. He did well for himself as a boxer, but he has to be delusional to behave the way he does, because there's a lot of people who, because if you act that way because you think you have money, there's rooms that you will go into that they wouldn't even allow you in, because you don't even have to change. You don't have the money to enter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, money doesn't make you. All right. I always laugh with a friend of mine. I said, as long as I got enough money to buy a cheeseburger, I'm good. You know, I don't eat cheeseburgers, but you know what I'm saying? Money, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, but we get to this place when we start to compare and contrast. You know, that's how we wind up with houses that are too big, cars and stuff we don't need. Why? Because you saw somebody else have it, right? And you like how people look at them because they have it. And so you want for people to look at you the same way. And so because of your comparing yourself, now you don't put, as my mother would say, now you don't put your hat where your hand can't reach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see so many people that have these monstrous homes. 2 people live in a house, 3 people live in a house. Okay. And now you got to work 18 hours outside of the very house that you bought just to be able to afford the house. You don't even spend no time in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And why? Comparison. You know, as I've gotten older, you know, I mean, we all fell victim of this as we were young. You know, but you get older, you're supposed to elevate your thought. You know, and one of the things I've learned is I've gotten very simple with my life. All right. I asked myself a couple of questions. Number one, if no one could know that you went, would you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
If no one could see you in this, with this, would you still want to buy it? And what exactly is this going to do to improve your life? If I can answer those questions intelligently, then I can get it. If I can't answer those questions intelligently, and it's only based on a feeling, then I don't.
So you said, would I still want to buy it if people could not see me in it?
We couldn't see me in it, wouldn't know how much it cost or what it was. Mm-hmm.
Would I still go if nobody knew that I was going? And the third one was,
what is it going to do for me? How is this going to improve my life?
How is it going to improve my life? Yeah. Right. And I consider that making your purchase have a purpose. I consider that making your purchase have a purpose. Man, I know this conversation, but I wanted people to see the well-roundedness of our brother Titus here, man. And I appreciate, that well-roundedness of that thought process. So if I'm going to jumpstart my diet, right, and it's time for me to go through and jumpstart my diet, what do I need to purchase from unlimited supplements to jumpstart and get me on a path to success as far as my health goes?
Well, the first thing I would tell you is, as opposed to purchasing anything, take a look at the 30-day challenge, okay? The 30-day challenge is a list of things that you actually need to stop eating, the things that are actually impairing your body. Stop poisoning yourself. That's your first step, okay? The next thing is, if you're looking to purchase now, you want to do the detox stack, because the detox stack will remove all the old food out of your system, right? And at the same time, right, what are you eating? We fix your diet. More water, at least 2 servings of fruit and or vegetables a day, right? No, obviously when you're doing the 30-day challenge, no simple carbs. So you're staying away from the donuts and all those things like that. You're eating actual food that grew on something. Okay. So if your food doesn't rot or expire, then you don't eat it. Nothing out of a box. Okay. Are you drinking enough water? Half your body weight in ounces of water. Then the last thing is, okay, what nutrients are you getting? What nutrients are you missing? All right. Take a look at the superfoods bundle. Detox Stack Superfoods bundle will be your 2 choices.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you subscribe to the thought process or the teachings of Dr. Sebi?
Dr. Sebi was a wise man. He's a wise guy. Okay. But I always tell people, everyone's journey, right, is not necessarily yours. So when somebody espouses to certain things, you have to take a look at the person who's talking. Okay. Dr. Sebi, I believe, suffered from ED and cancer. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Sebi's diet, in order to heal himself, had to be extreme. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he even took it a step further when he's saying things like, oh, this is a hybrid vegetables, this is a hybrid vegetable, you can't eat this, can't eat that. Where, let's be real, science has brought us some good things. There's nothing wrong with eating broccoli or asparagus. Those things have been proven to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But according to Dr. Sebi, they're not. Does that make him a bad guy? Mm-hmm. No. It just makes him that he has a different view. Would you die if you're on Dr. Sebi's plan? No, it's a little bit more extreme. Mm-hmm. Is it particularly necessary? No, because one of the beautiful things in life is about balance, right? Balance and growth. There are things that are available to us now that weren't available 50 years ago that are good for us. There are a lot of things that are not. Mm-hmm. You have to have the discernment to look between the two. So, like I said, I have all the respect for the work that he did, but do I subscribe to everything that he says? No.
Got you. And so for our listeners and your supporters now, the brother, Mr. Titus, just talked about, putting what foods you should put into your body. Go check out his YouTube. He has a YouTube where he takes you through the grocery store. And in the grocery store, you stay on the outer bounds of the grocery store and you say, look, this is where all the healthy stuff is. In the inside where the lanes are, that's all of your preservatives. Try to stay out of there as much as possible. As we wrap up the show, can you give everybody your IG, let them know where they can find you at, and things of that nature. And also,
you just put it up, Titus Unlimited. It's very easy to find me on YouTube. It's just 2 words, Titus Unlimited. But if you type in Titus Unlimited in Google, everything comes up, even the supplements and everything like that. So Titus Unlimited is really easy to find. So it's Titus Unlimited on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and yeah, even the website. It's just Titus Unlimited. Very easy. All right. Yeah, once again, the most important knowledge in this world, a lot of times, in our modern world right now, we've been deluded into thinking your degree is more important, right? And your degree is not more important. What's most important is how you feed yourself. Because if you're not feeding yourself properly, if you're not taking care of your body properly, all those things won't matter when you get sick. Okay. The most important knowledge is you should learn to feed yourself. What is it? Hippocrates says, a man who is not his own doctor is a fool.
A man is not his own doctor is a fool. True.
You should know what's going on with your body.
And that's
you should know how to. Hippocrates is, Hippocrates in the European history books, they have him as the father of medicine, but Hippocrates was actually taught by Imhotep. But so there you go. Yeah, that's why in the medical books they call it the Hippocratic Oath. Hippocrates. There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Miguel, you got anything before we wrap up, brother?
You see, I've been quiet. I've just been taking notes. So I mean, sometimes you just gotta know when to sit down and just take it in and understand what you're sitting around. You know what I mean? So it was a pleasure. We definitely appreciate you coming on the show. I hope we pray that we say we just like to scratch the surface. We definitely just scratched the surface with this one. Hopefully that this, like myself and Frank, we always looking for ways to better ourselves and things like that. I hope that whoever listens to this episode, that it takes them and at least spark them an interest in just looking at different things and different avenues of their life and where they might need to make some adjustments at. Because I know I'm definitely going. I got some changes I'm gonna make after this, so I already know where we're at.
Yeah,
I mean, everything in life we have to look inside. That's where all your answers are. Your answers are inside. Introspect. A lot of times we know we're not what we're doing is not adding up. We just don't want to admit it. Yeah. Look inside and say, is this really right? If it's not right, what can I do to change it? And that's when you look outside for things. But look inside first. Okay? Look inside first.
Well, with that being said, go cash mob them right now. UnlimitedSupply.com. Titus Unlimited.
Unlimited supplement.
Unlimited supplement. Go to TITUSUNLIMITED.com and cash mob them now. I know that I'm going to go. I'm going to make sure that I make my purchase. But first, I'm going to start with the 30-day plan and look at what I'm eating and see and go through that whole shebang. And I'm going to be in touch, my brother. You now are watching the Root Cause podcast where we barely scratch the surface of this one. We got
one quick thing. When you go to the website, take a look at that Jumpstart package. Use the discount code Unlimited20. So Unlimited in all caps, 20 will get you 20% off. Okay.
Unlimited 20. Got you. Unlimited 20. My brother, I appreciate you. I hope to do this again, and I will be watching.
Thank you so much, brother. Take it easy. And it was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.